Hello. On today's video, we're going to be looking at Reddit. As most people know, Reddit is a forum that essentially people can go to ask questions, look at different things that they enjoy, look see what's going on essentially in the general community out there. Reddit is usually used or interacted with by subreddits. Each subreddit out there centers on a specific topic. Depending on the topic, depends on what will be asked or looked at. There are subreddits out there where you can sell things, get opinions on things, make confessions, ask questions. So in my last video, I looked at the Ask Reddit subreddit, which is essentially the most basic subreddit there. You can go there and ask a question and typically get a response, depending on the type of question you ask. Sometimes the questions asked won't always get a response, other times they'll get lots of responses. Today we're going to look at a few more subreddits, and just see what's being asked out there, what's being looked at. Reddit is also a place not without controversy. There are subreddits that were banned because of the controversy that they entailed. I'm not going to go into those because, yeah, quite frankly, they're just not great. It's Reddit's a place where you can push the boundaries, and depending on the boundary being pushed, that dictates whether or not you're crossing into that, yeah, sort of not gray area, but whether or not what you're looking at is right and more illegal. But yeah, look, as I said, Reddit is huge. Reddit has a history of a lot of ups and downs. So let's now dive into our first subreddit and have a look. So the first subreddit we're going to be looking at today is the r/AITAH subreddit, or sort of, I guess, the sister subreddit to the MIDA whole subreddit. On this one, as most people know, it's another basic subreddit where you can go and essentially ask the wider community if you're the a-hole for whatever reason. A lot of the questions here, I think, are people generally looking for validation rather than whether or not they are the a-hole. Um, Look, a lot of the stuff that I've seen is generally, I guess, more or less people whether not, and they just want and they just want reassurance. Look, you do get that odd time where it's clear the person asking the question is absolutely the a-hole and they refuse to accept or acknowledge that. Um, just in, I guess more often than not, it's people aren't. And generally, when someone answers a question, they answer in a couple of ways, either NTA for not the a-hole, AH for a-hole, nah for no a-holes, or ESH for everyone sucks here, as most people would know. So like moving in, the first one I come up with is from 8 hours ago. So we'll click into that one. As you can see, this one has almost 5.4 thousand replies. So this person asks AITA for not wanting to drop charges on a 10-year-old kid. Some background, my kids go to school where over 90% of the student population are refugee immigrants. We live in a neighborhood that is the same circumstances as my kid's school. Cut to yesterday, my 9-year-old girl out at recess. She was playing basketball. The bully walked up behind her, pushed her to the ground, and when she was getting up, the kid kicked her in the head like it was ouch, like a soccer ball. Not good at all. The wife went down to check with the girl. She'll be okay. I hope, but she has scratches on the side of her head. School principal said he'd handle it later on. He called my wife and I separately and asked to drop the charges because the student doesn't understand that what he did wrong. I told the principal that if school isn't going to discipline the bully, I will call the police department and file charges. So based on that, it's a simple question. You get a lot of responses. Obviously, the majority of people in this case are obviously going to say NTA and to keep the charges as essentially a 10-year-old, is old enough to so this person NTA 10 is old enough to understand that you shouldn't abuse another person, but they need to learn how serious an offense is. The sooner the better. Hard lessons, etc. Essentially, here's someone who responds, I'm a teacher, do not drop the charges. The principal has no business involving himself in making this request, and I would let him know that the child not understanding isn't your problem. It's for the police to decide if they're going to pursue charges. Assault is assault, and essentially it's correct. Assault essentially is assault. Obviously 10. Look, I'm not gonna say either way. Look, obviously 10 is very young. Um, but obviously the school needs to be handling this appropriately, and obviously in this case, uh, the school, isn't handling it appropriately. Um, Look, I'll leave that with how leave that with your thoughts. Obviously, yeah, not good, not great. Here's someone who's calling rubbish. Obviously, bullpoo bait post. Literally, no school in America is like this. And from your post history, I can see you're literally from Farking America, and also I have no idea what relevance it poses to the actual story instead of being fear and rage bait against refugees, immigrants, and you literally tried to post this bullpoo story in the other sub, and it got removed for being so farking fake. Uh, Look, obviously with these kinds of posts as well, you tend to get political. Someone saying I call fake MAGA MAGA rage bait. What did the immigration status have to do with anything? Fair call. But again, look, I'm not going to make it political as I, quite frankly, am not political. Look, as again, most of the posts, look, I don't say most. I want to say a good majority are saying do not drop charges. Others are saying rubbish. Again, you make of it what you will. But as I said, it, it's a sort of thing, depending on the post, it draws up controversy or not, or it draws up, everyone having their say. And I think with these sorts of things as well, depending on if you see the OP responding or not is also a good indication. As just scrolling through, I've not seen any replies from the OP. Whether or not they choose to respond is another story, but a lot of times, if it's a legitimate story, you will see the OP respond. And in this case, you're not seeing any response from the OP, which I think tends to be a big telltale sign of whether or not it's rage or fake or whatever. But because we obviously don't have a reply from the OP and it only being 8 hours old, it's probably not long enough for them to reply. But then again, as I said, no reply from the OP can also sometimes be telling. And now on to the next one. If you like the video, give it a like. If you like the channel, give it a subscribe. And if you want to make sure you're notified about any future updates, hit that bell. So the next sub I've chosen to look at is r/confession. So just a bit of warning. Some of the stuff that is in this could be a bit triggering. So if it is for you, please skip this section. Now moving on. In this sub, this is generally where people come to confess things. Doesn't matter what it is, but they'll confess. This particular type of sub has definitely seen its fair share of controversy. As years ago, I'm not too sure when, but someone literally they believe confessed to a murder, although nobody could prove it. As I said, this sub it can get dark. But look, people come here to confess. I'm not going to read the top one. Here's a good one. So this one is by SHBRY1. Um, I confess I was at one time the neighbor from hell. Don't know if this is allowed, but I confess I was a horrible neighbor when I first got on my own. I was young and had no respect. Always had a house full of friends drinking and doing drugs. Loud parties constantly. Sold a lot of drugs too. Enough that my neighbor had a surveillance camera in a room facing my driveway recording who came over. That lasted until I noticed it, and everyone that came over walked to the window, yelled and waved. One thing that really got to me was one morning walking out of the house with a couple of girls who were with me during a period of staying up for a few days, tweaking and basically screwing me for dope and coming outside with them and a group of neighbors just looking at me with disgust. Sally didn't stop me. Now that I'm older, have a good job and raised great kids, I'm actually a well-respected member of my community and have made amends and am friendly with the people who I used to be a total piece of crap too. I look back and realize I was definitely the neighbor from hell. So as I said, that one's obviously it's a pretty easy confession. They realized they were garbage and obviously fixed their ways as they got older. Look, obviously, look, not everyone is going to be the best neighbor. Look, some of the comments you grew up, that's what it is. Glad that you are where you are at now, because some people never grow up in that aspect. Some of us call it young and dumb. Yeah, look, maybe, yeah, maybe. If you look back with embarrassment, then that shows you've grown. 100% true. I mean, look, we've all maybe not to the aspect that OP did, but look, we've all done embarrassing things, especially in our younger days. Look, I'm sure you, the viewers, have. I know I have. Um, it's okay. You didn't choose the thug life. Thug life chose you. You moved on and learned from it. That's the main thing. Yeah, look, that's definitely funny. Look, I guess you could look at it that way. She definitely was in the thug life. Um, Another person, I wasn't into drugs, but when I got my first house, I was regularly blasting music, having over guys every time I had the house to myself, and getting into domestics with my ex-husband. I look back now and I'm just so glad I moved because, yeah, it was embarrassing for sure looking back how awful I was. Townhouse too, so the neighbors could hear it all. Yeah, look, obviously, when you're, I guess, rough and tumble or whatever, I guess it also means, you've got to be aware of your surroundings, and I think, especially whether it's an apartment or a townhouse, because you're obviously sharing walls, you need to be, I guess, that more mindful. You know, you you've got to respect those around you, especially in tight, confined quarters. 'Cause look, no, nobody's saying don't blast music or whatever, or enjoy yourself in your house, but not to the point that others can hear what you're doing, I guess. Yeah, look, some other comments, at least you realize it now. I was the same back in the day. Now you can take what you have learned to become the best neighbor on the block. Look, I think that would be a complete 180 and going from an absolute turd to someone that is, like an absolute saint. Look, I don't think anyone's saying do that, but obviously just be a good neighbor, really. Um, let's see. Yeah, look, I guess being a good neighbor is all about, you know, just keeping the pace, really. Keeping the pace, really. Yeah, so look, this is the R confession. So, can we go back? Here, let's go back. All right, so let's see what else. Here's a good one. 18 minutes ago. I haven't, mind you, I haven't looked at any of these, but look, they, as I said, this sub is definitely good. So here's one. My history teacher, 48 keeps making inappropriate jokes, and it's making me 15F uncomfortable. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I'm really uncomfortable with the way my history teacher has been acting lately. He's in his late 40s, and for some reason, he thinks it's okay to make sexual jokes during class. He'll make comments like calling himself daddy and telling the class be good for daddy. And he often goes on these rants about historical figures' sex lives. The one that really got to me was when he spent way too much time talking about Benjamin Franklin being a freak when it comes to his sexual exploits. On top of that, he sometimes overshares personal things, telling us about his wife having an affair. It's like he's trying to make the class laugh, but it feels inappropriate and uncomfortable, especially since we're not adults. I don't want to think of him as a creepy weirdo, but I know he might just be trying to get us to laugh or connect, but it's starting to feel like there's something more off about it. I don't know. I don't even know if I should report it or if he just needs help with therapy. I guess I'm really just confused because a part of me feels bad for him, but the other part feels like this behavior isn't okay. Then obviously the comments are as you would expect. Please talk to someone in administration about this and let them handle it. They will make sure it is anonymous and he will never know it's you. This is not normal behavior. No, it's not. I'm a full on adult and I am uncomfortable. Absolutely. I mean, look, reading that made me uncomfortable. No person in authority, especially a teacher, when you're dealing with, kids, should be making those kinds of jokes. It's not funny. He knows what he's doing is inappropriate. I would strongly recommend talking to your parents or the principal about this. Being a history teacher myself, I know that's wildly inappropriate. There's no reason for him to be doing any of that. Here's one from another teacher, much younger but still a teacher. I 22F am a high school teacher from am a high s- am a high school history teacher, and what he's saying doing is highly inappropriate. You should definitely go to an administrator and tell them how you feel. If you feel more comfortable, you should go with one or two friends in your class and that feel the same way. After you talk to the admin, you should keep a record of everything that he says that is of a sexual nature and or makes you uncomfortable. This will help you make sure that a change has actually been made in the classroom. Make sure you also write the date of each new entry. I'm sorry that's happening to you. You're asking the right questions. He's being creepy. Based on what the OP has said, he is absolutely being creepy. There's no reason for that. Um, look, it's more of the same when looking at these. One person goes, "This is grooming behavior." He builds rapport by talking about taboo subjects. He presents as younger and cooler than the other teachers. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty off-putting. And that's the our confession sub. And on to the next. So for the last one for today's video, we're going to be looking at r/RBI or Reddit Bureau of Investigation. Essentially, what this one is, people post questions and then the wider Reddit community jump into action to try and help the OP solve their mystery. So here, just looking at the first one from 7 hours ago. So Reddit user Tomcat underscore 46 asks, yesterday in the mail, I received a creepy anonymous letter with no return address or name attached. The person who sent it claims not to know me personally, but they found my profile online and have become infatuated with me. Nothing in it was explicitly threatening or illegal, despite being very, very upsetting. I can't emphasize this enough, so I doubt the police would do anything if I brought it to them. Every word written in this letter, including my name, address, and the phone, was typed, so analyzing handwriting is out of the question. The only identifying info is the postmark, which indicates it was sent from a large city on the opposite side of the country from me. Is there any possible way this letter could be traced, or am I out of luck? That I would say, look, unfortunately, given that all you have to post is postmark, you're probably out of luck. But I mean, let's have a look and see what sort of answers the OP got. So it had 13 answers. Um, so one from 6 hours ago. I'm in the social services field and I'm providing information to you for awareness, not to scare you or make you more anxious. You need to take this seriously. From what you are describing, how unsettled you feel, how the content was not expected, welcome or consented. This is a cyber stalking/stalking. The key here is how you feel. The fact that this individual comfortable enough to contact you physically through the mail is an indicator that they are comfortable in escalating their behavior and potentially becoming more unstable. I'm not sure what the letter said, but the contact is enough to warrant a police report. If you do not know this person or what their intentions are, I would call someone you trust and have them go with you to the station to do this. It is imperative to get documentation of this incident and ask for resources and victims advocates. They're 24/7 organizations, advocates, social workers, and vetted volunteers that know how to handle things like this and keep you safe. Stalking legally has a victim focused definition and is dependent on how you feel about actions taken towards you. Proving this starts with documentation. Please be safe and please make a report. There are plenty of organizations that can help you, even if this turns out to be a sick prank. Taking steps toward your safety will give you peace of mind. Look, obviously, the OP in this needs to take action to protect himself. As this answer states, it is stalking. It's essentially stalking. Even though the letter comes from across the country, regardless, it's unwanted. It's not requested. It's unwelcome contact. Obviously, nobody likes when they have unwelcomed or unwanted contact. It's stalking. Doesn't matter, it can happen to anyone. And obviously the OP in this one needs to take adequate cautions. Let's see what else. If it has been marked with a barcode, yes, it can be tracked. Take it to the police, file a report, and deactivate. Pause all your social media accounts immediately. Hope you make money from. Well, I hope you don't make money from social media. Also, take a photo of the note to have for your personal documentation. Maybe a real photocopy and not just your cell phone. Yeah, look, it's in this case, it's all about getting the police involved, I think. And gun file report, even if it's a report that ends up sitting there and nothing occurs, it's you still gotta have a report. Someone says talk to a postmaster. Look, unfortunately, I think unless they know the exact time and date and can actually see who did it or where it came from, you know, I'm not too sure that will get very far. Someone's not an expert. They claim not to know you. This generally means they know you. Typing the letter means they wanted to obscure their handwriting. So they were either afraid we trace it that way, or you are familiar with their handwriting, and someone else or like typewriters. I'm not laughing, but yeah, that's a little bit funny, I guess, but not really. Someone, I assume they know you, or at least watching you, they know how this is creepy, or else they would have identified themselves. They want to get a rise out of you. Do you know which social profile they can be from? Any friends that recently went on vacation and posted about a trip? I wouldn't share this info with too many people unless it's family or authorities. You don't want them to know you actually received. Also, completely making all profiles hidden may already be too late. They're already in. To that, what I would say is probably go through all your profiles and remove people you don't know. Like, I mean, in today's day and age, when you look at social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, when I mean, especially Facebook, when you look at Facebook and you see people with hundreds, if not thousands, of friends, you have to ask how many of those people do you actually know? Like, I get that maybe you are using the profile to post influencing photos, but I mean, realistically, when you have a Facebook profile or an Instagram profile, and you have hundreds, if not, 1,000 plus friends, how many of those people do you honestly know? Do you actually talk to? How many of those people are family? Or distant family or friends of friends. I think at some point you go right when you see how many. Say you're looking at a Facebook profile and someone has 1,000 plus friends, and they're only ever and I'm not saying do this. When you look at like someone's pictures and you see them going, and it's always the same handful of people commenting, you kind of go, yeah, okay, you've got maybe 5 to 10, 15 people commenting on your photos, but yet you have over 1,000 friends. How many of these people are just randoms that have added you over the years that you don't actually know? Profiles that nobody else uses or nobody uses anymore. Again, you need to be safe on social media. It's the Wild West out there. But continuing on, the Secret Service, yeah, I don't think so. But as I said, yeah, look, this is the RBI subreddit. I'm sure, look, at points down the track, the sub will make more appearances on the channel. Look, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be posting soon. Thank you.